Everyone blamed her for the failure. She stayed silent until an encrypted file surfaced, and the world learned whose plan really saved thousands. My name is Elena Brooks. I'm 34, and I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, where my family always saw me as the overthinker. My older brother, Nathan, was the golden child, a West Point grad, now a rising star in military intelligence at Horizon Security Group. My sister, Claire, was a diplomat, charming embassies with her smile. Me? I was the egghead, a data analyst at Horizon, mocked for my quiet desk job. They didn't know I'd crafted a covert operation that saved thousands. Until NATO called me the ghost strategist. It all started 2 years ago at our family's Christmas dinner in Memphis. The dining room was decked with lights, Mom's pecan pie on the table, but the talk was all about Nathan's latest classified project and Claire's embassy dinners. I sat quietly sipping coffee when Nathan smirked. Nathan, Elena still crunching numbers in that basement office? Claire laughed. What do you even do? Organize spreadsheets? Mom gave me a pitying look. You'll find your place, honey. Dad just nodded, distracted. Their words cut deep, but I was used to it. To them, I was the invisible sibling, not worth the spotlight. The truth? I wasn't just an analyst. At Horizon, I'd developed a predictive model for tracking insurgent movements in high-risk zones. It used real-time satellite data, comms intercepts, and machine learning to pinpoint threats. I'd spent 3 years refining it, working late in our Memphis office, testing it against classified scenarios. My boss, Richard Vance, called it revolutionary, but kept my name off the reports. When NATO requested a plan to evacuate civilians from a war-torn region, my model was the backbone. I wrote the operation, codenamed Ghost Veil, coordinating drones, ground teams, and safe routes for 10,000 people. It was my brainchild, but Richard pitched it as his own. The mission went south at first. A drone misfired, drawing enemy fire, and 50 civilians were injured. The media blasted Horizon, calling it a disaster. Richard pointed the finger at me during a boardroom meeting, saying my flawed data caused the chaos. Nathan, who'd consulted on the mission's intel, backed him up, not knowing I'd written it. Elena, you should stick to spreadsheets, he told me later, half joking. Claire called, her voice dripping with sympathy. Maybe take a break, Elena. This isn't your thing. I was suspended, my reputation trashed, my family's pity suffocating. But I knew the truth. The mission ultimately saved 9,950 lives, and my model had worked. I didn't fight back, yet. I went home to my small Memphis apartment, staring at my laptop. I had backups of everything, my original code, emails to Richard detailing Ghost Veil, and logs showing I'd flagged the drone glitch before the mission, which he'd ignored. I could have gone to HR, but Richard had the CEO's ear, and Nathan's military clout shielded him. I needed a bigger move. Then I got a call from an old colleague, Samir, now at NATO's Brussels headquarters. Elena, your model's being reviewed, he said. They're calling it the ghost strategist's work. Why isn't your name on it? That lit the fire. I sent Samir my evidence, an encrypted file with my code, emails, and a simulation proving Ghost Veil's success. Get this to NATO's Oversight Committee, I said. He promised to deliver. A week later, NATO invited Richard to a televised summit in Brussels to discuss Ghost Veil's success. Nathan and Claire were attending too, Nathan as a military liaison, Claire as a diplomatic observer. They thought I was still in Memphis, licking my wounds. I booked a flight to Brussels, uninvited, with Samir's help. I wasn't on the official list, but I'd be there, ready to step out of the shadows. I spent the days before the summit preparing. I built a presentation, slides showing my model's design, the mission's 99.5% success rate, and Richard's email dismissing my drone warning. I practiced my speech, keeping it calm but cutting. Samir confirmed NATO's committee had my file and was intrigued. They'd given me a slot to speak, after Richard. I didn't tell my family. I wanted their shock on live TV, when the world saw who the ghost strategist really was. Hey, if you're hooked on this story, Hit that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We bring you epic family drama and revenge tales every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Stay tuned because Elena's about to haunt the stage. The NATO summit in Brussels was 5 days away, and I was in Memphis, Tennessee, sharpening my plan to reclaim credit for Ghost Veil, the covert operation that saved 9,950 lives. My boss, Richard Vance, had pinned the mission's early drone glitch on me, costing me my reputation at Horizon Security Group. My brother Nathan and sister Claire, who'd mocked me as a spreadsheet organizer at our family's Christmas dinner, were headed to the summit. Nathan as a military liaison, Claire as a diplomatic observer. They thought I was still suspended, sulking at home. They didn't know I'd sent NATO an encrypted file proving I was the ghost strategist, and I was about to crash their victory lap on live TV. I doubled down on my evidence. I had emails to Richard with every detail of Ghost Veil, drone algorithms, evacuation routes, risk models, all time-stamped a year before the mission. One email showed I'd warned him about the drone glitch, which he'd dismissed as minor. I also had server logs from Horizon Systems, proving I'd coded the predictive model that made the mission possible. My coworker Samir, now at NATO, had sent my file to their oversight committee, and they were digging deeper. I needed more leverage, so I asked my colleague Jenna, who'd worked on the mission's data feeds, to write a statement. "Elena, you built this from scratch," she said, signing it. "Richard's a fraud." I called Samir to confirm my spot at the summit. "You're on the list as a guest speaker," he said, his voice low. "Richard's presenting first, and Nathan's giving a military brief. You sure about this?" I nodded, gripping my phone. "They blamed me for the failure. I'm taking back what's mine." Samir sent me the summit's agenda, with my slot right after Richard's. I also reached out to Horizon's Deputy Director Laura Kent anonymously. I emailed her my evidence, labeled Ghost Veil Truth, hinting that Richard's claims were false. Laura replied, "I'll be at the summit. We'll talk." That was my opening. At Horizon, I kept up the act of the disgraced analyst. Richard was prepping for Brussels, strutting around the Memphis office, boasting about his big moment. "Elena, you're lucky to have a job after that mess," he said one day, smirking. I smiled back, saying nothing, while saving a screenshot of his calendar, where he'd marked my mission planning sessions as Elena's drafts. His arrogance was my edge. He hadn't even covered his tracks. I needed an ally in Brussels, so I met Jenna at a quiet Memphis cafe. "You're going to expose Richard on live TV?" she asked, stirring her latte. "That's next level." I showed her my presentation, slides detailing Ghost Veil's 99.5% success rate, my warning email about the drone, and a video simulation of my model saving the evacuation. "If Richard pushes back, this buries him," I said. Jenna nodded. "I'll be in the crowd, ready to back you up. Send me a signal if you need me to speak." I thanked her, feeling my plans solidify. I also prepared for my family. Nathan had texted, gloating about his summit role. "Big day for me, sis. Stay out of trouble," Claire called, her voice patronizing. "Elena, don't stress about work. Focus on something small." I didn't respond. They'd laughed at me over Christmas, calling my job a joke while praising Nathan's heroics. I wanted them to see me in Brussels, not as the overthinking sister, but as the strategist who'd outsmarted them all. I kept my trip secret, letting them think I was still in Memphis. The day before my flight, I polished my speech. It was calm but razor-sharp, explaining how I'd built Ghost Veil, how Richard ignored my warnings, and how the mission succeeded despite his mistakes. I included a slide with anonymized quotes from Nathan's report, calling the strategist anonymous but critical. He didn't know that was me. I packed my laptop, a USB drive with backups, and a tailored black suit, professional, unyielding. I called Samir one last time. "Committee's buzzing about your file," he said. "They're ready for a shakeup." I smiled. Good. I landed in Brussels, checking into a hotel near NATO headquarters. In the lobby, I spotted Nathan in his dress uniform, laughing with Claire, who was in a diplomatic blazer. They didn't see me. I overheard Nathan say, "Richard's got this locked." Shame Elena tanked it. My grip tightened on my bag. Tomorrow, on live TV, they'd see who really carried the mission. Hey, if you're loving this revenge story, smash that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We drop epic family drama and takedowns every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Stay tuned, because Ellen is about to pull the curtain back. The NATO summit in Brussels was a high-stakes stage packed with diplomats, generals, and media streaming live to a global audience. I, Elena Brooks, stood at the edge of the conference hall, my laptop loaded with evidence proving I was the ghost strategist behind Ghost Veil, the operation that saved 9,950 lives. My boss, Richard Vance, was set to claim credit for my work, while my brother Nathan and sister Claire, who'd mocked me as a spreadsheet organizer at our Memphis family dinner, sat in the front row, clueless. They thought I was back in Tennessee, disgraced and suspended. Today, on live TV, they'd see the truth, and it would shake their world. Samir, my NATO contact, met me backstage. "The Oversight Committee reviewed your file," he whispered. "They're ready to back you. General Moreau's in on it." I nodded, my black suit sharp, my presentation ready. Richard was already at the podium, his voice booming with false confidence. "Ghost Veil was my vision," he said, showing slides I'd built, maps, drone paths, evacuation stats. "My team at Horizon Security Group delivered a 99.5% success rate." Nathan clapped proudly. Claire smiled, whispering to a diplomat. I gripped my USB drive, waiting for my moment. Richard's speech ended, and the floor opened for questions. A German general asked, "How did your model predict insurgent movements so precisely?" Richard faltered, mumbling about advanced analytics. He didn't know the code, my code. I stepped forward, raising my hand. "I can answer that," I said, my voice steady. The room turned, cameras swiveling. Richard's face went white. Nathan frowned, leaning forward. Claire's jaw dropped, her diplomat friend staring. General Moreau, a tall woman with a piercing gaze, nodded at me. "Mrs. Brooks, take the stage." The hall went silent as I walked to the podium, my heels echoing on the polished floor. "I'm Elena Brooks, the creator of Ghost Veil," I said, my words broadcast live. "I designed the predictive model, coded the drone algorithms, and planned the evacuation of 10,000 civilians." I clicked my laptop, projecting an email from Richard. "Elena's concept is brilliant. I'll present it." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "This is my work," I said, showing server logs with my code commits from a year ago. I also warned Richard about a drone glitch, which he ignored, causing the initial failure. I played a video simulation of my model, showing drones rerouting supplies under simulated enemy fire. "This saved 9,950 lives," I said. "Not Richard's vision, mine." The room erupted in murmurs, cameras flashing. Nathan's face was red, his hands clenched. Claire sank in her seat, her diplomat friend now whispering to others. Richard tried to interrupt. "This is a team effort." General Moreau cut him off. "Mr. Vance, sit down. Ms. Brooks, continue." I detailed the model's mechanics: real-time satellite data, machine learning, risk mitigation. A British colonel asked, "Why wasn't your name on the report?" I showed Richard's email dismissing my warning, then a statement from my coworker Jenna confirming my role. "I was suspended for the glitch I tried to prevent," I said. "But the mission succeeded because of my work." The crowd's applause grew, drowning out Richard's protests. General Moreau stood. "Mrs. Brooks, NATO recognizes you as the ghost strategist. You're leading our next phase." The room roared. Richard was escorted out, his career in tatters. Horizon's deputy director Laura Kent approached me after, her face grim. "I saw your evidence. You're reinstated as lead strategist. Richard's out." I nodded, my heart pounding with triumph. Nathan and Claire cornered me in the hall, their faces a mix of shock and shame. "Elena, why didn't you tell us?" Nathan stammered. Claire added, "We didn't know you were this." I looked at them, calm but firm. "You called me a failure while I was saving thousands. You didn't deserve to know." Mom and Dad, watching from Memphis on TV, called me later, their voices shaky. "We're so proud, Elena," Mom said. I cut her off. "You didn't believe in me when it mattered." I hung up, done chasing their approval. NATO offered me a consulting role in Brussels, and Horizon promoted me, my name now tied to Ghost Veil worldwide. The media ran headlines, "Ghost Strategist revealed as Memphis analyst." My family's next Christmas dinner was silent. No more mockery, just awe. I stood outside NATO headquarters, the Brussels skyline glowing. They thought I'd ruined the mission. Instead, I'd rewritten my story, and the world knew my name. Hey, if you loved this epic comeback, smash that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We drop the best family drama and revenge stories every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Thanks for joining us. Wah.